you look at what's happening around the world, we're seeing massive amount of retail interest in the market, which is fine, but it's this frantic pace of trading activity, which we're seeing from retail investors, that is a cause of concern to me. Because what happens if the market turns south? And especially because if you look at it, a lot of politicians in the US, we've seen it across the aisle, both Democrats and Republicans have been celebrating this amount of retail participation as if this is some new democratization of finance. The problem is this, that the bull market is arguably 12 years old, and the retail investor has arrived to the party rather late. It's only been after the pandemic that the retail investors showed up to this party. Before the pandemic, there was virtually no retail participation in this bull market. And so they've come late to the party. At the other side of the trade, there are insiders that are selling very heavily, as you know, some prominent CEOs that have been selling. So that is some concern to me, that you get a lot of retail investors come rather late to this party. And what happens if the market turns south, with politicians having already backed them for participating in this market in this very speculative, frenzy manner?
I think the big question that everybody wants to know is how late to the party are they? Meaning, if the party started at 7 p.m. and it's 11 p.m., well, it's one thing if the party is over at midnight. It's quite another if the party goes till 5 a.m.
Yeah, you know, my favorite line from that book is that the clock has no hands. And really, that's what it is. We don't know exactly when this party ends. But if you look at the big bull markets of the past 100 years or so, what we do know is that retail participation always comes very late, going back to 1929, the 1973 bull market, and obviously the 1999-2000 bull market. That there are some telltale signs that tell us that we are very late into this party. And we know that the fundamental reason why this party has gone on is that the price of money has been so cheap. And that seems like set to change over the next few months. So yeah, it does seem that we're very late to the party. And it's not just the retail investors. The amount of speculative activity we're seeing in the market is pretty broad-based. And you're seeing it in all sorts of markets, including the art market. You can argue about the explosion that's taken place in the number of new cryptocurrencies. So there is very widespread speculative fervor across the financial markets, particularly in the United States.
So is the Sharma family selling? I mean, are you going to cash? What are you doing as a function of this view?
Yeah, so definitely sort of diversifying outside the United States, because the U.S. has just done so well. And yeah, personally, you know, in terms of lightening up as far as the U.S. is concerned. Now, there are signs of retail speculation in other parts of the market as well. But generally, I would say lightening up on U.S. exposure, as I think that over the next few years, the U.S. market ends its massive period of outperformance.